What does a pharmacist do? Well, most people might answer that a pharmacist dispenses the medications that my doctor prescribes. Now, I work with a ton of great pharmacists, and one thing that I don't generally see is excitement about pills in a vial. And this is probably because pharmacists have been trained to do so much more. So what can you get excited about in your community? To find out, let's go beyond the scripts. Everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Scripts. I'm your host, Will Tuft with PioneerRx, and today we have a special guest joining us, Antoun Salib, who I've known for years and years from Briar Grove Pharmacy, which I installed, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And today, wearing a different hat, one of the business coaches at Cencora. And I do want to point out there's a corporate waiver we have to sign off on here that any opinions expressed are purely his, not the necessarily the opinions of Cencora or any of his other employers, past, future, or present. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you all. It's an honor to be with you, man. Yes, we know you for a long time, so it's really nice to be here.
Yeah, so we go way back with Briar Grove Pharmacy down in Houston. But tell me a little bit about your journey that led you to Briar Grove and now I guess where you're at with Cencora. But for anybody that doesn't know you, where'd you come from?
Well, actually, it's my journey in pharmacy, in independent pharmacy. It's really very unconventional. So it's a little bit funny that, I actually graduated from engineering school back in Egypt, electrical engineering. So I worked for a technology company for a couple of years. I married my wife, which is a pharmacist. Now you can see where this is going, right? So we moved to New York. It was a big change for us, work different jobs. Then my wife got an opportunity. It was a group of pharmacists who owns multiple pharmacies in the northeast side, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, that area, She worked with them for a few years. Then, we both get, another good offers here in the Houston area. I also, we moved to Houston back in 2010. I worked for a technology company again. He worked for Walgreens. And then, on a Sunday afternoon, I think back in 2012, get a phone call. So two of the gentlemen that, my wife used to work with them, they were in Houston. Hey, are you here? Can we meet? Yes. So we met with them. They said, well, we about to, acquire another pharmacy in Houston. And, we want, Sally to be, the PIC. And of course, the first reaction from her said, nope. I am not doing that. I'm not. So she's a very, very, very smart and you kind of the opposite of that. She's the book smart. She just do everything by the book and that's why she was very successful and in Walgreens and she was getting promoted one after another. But I like to adventure sometimes, So,
sure.
So we said, you know what, let's sit down, let's talk about it. Okay, well, is it the better hours for you? Like your schedule now, it's when you work for a chain, you really don't own your schedule, right? So you work different hours. And she said, yeah, well, I think I can, have a much better hours if I go with that, with that offer. I said, okay. So that by itself, it's a plus, you have young kids and, being home at 5 o'clock, it's important, right? So we did that way. We talked through it, pros and cons and, what can we do? So anyway, so we finally she got convinced. Then down the road, because they were still doing all the paperwork and all that, I get another phone call from one of their other partner. He's no longer with us. Great guy, passed away recently, but great pharmacist in New York. He's actually a legend in New York, pharmacist. His name is Dr. Elia. He called me and said, "Hey, Anton, look, this is way bigger than what we expected. Okay, I know you have your own career. You're doing fantastic. But we really want you this to run this operation for us." And said, "You know what? Let me think about it." And I know at this time, there's no going back, right? Once you leave that engineering thing, I was doing good. But I don't know. He called me crazy. He called me just, adventurous. But they told me, "You know what? Just go visit. Just go visit the pharmacy. Okay, look, and you'll see what kind of skill we're talking about." And well, you've been in the pharmacy, right? So, really huge operation from the front to the back, and then of course, my wife pressure said, "Okay, I really want you in," and all that, and yeah. So I said, "Okay, all right, let's do it." So here I am.
What a change!
And I know it was a big change, huge change for me, and you can imagine, peer pressure, like, "Are you crazy? You're doing all this change." I understand, your wife can do it, but why are you doing it? But anyway, I think it's when I look back, it's one of the best decisions I made. I mean, it really changed the way I'm thinking about, about people, about business, about operation. I learned a lot, and I'm here since 2013. That's the official date that they purchased that pharmacy, and then I become the director of operation there, and that's how it all started.
Gotcha. Yeah, so there's a saying in French that I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but it translates to "look for the woman." So whenever a man is doing something that seems out of character, moving somewhere, jumping careers, doing anything that seems out of character, look for the woman, and that's oftentimes.
I cannot agree more than that. I cannot agree more than you than this. We moved from New York. Well, we moved from New York for many reasons. I mean, I have nothing against New York. I like it and everything. It just it was too cold. It was way too cold for her, and then for me too. But one of the main reasons that we were looking for more warmer weather. So yes.
Well, you've got that in Houston for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually grew up in Houston. I grew up down in South Houston, over off of Old Galveston Road. I used to ride my bicycle over to Alameda Mall.
Oh,
and
cool.
Yeah. So that's my old stomping grounds down there. I love it down there.
This area changed completely.
Oh yeah. So Briar Grove was an existing pharmacy when you stepped in. Was it pretty similar in structure and size to what it is now?
It was existing pharmacy, yes. Now,
Okay.
We over the years, of course, we changed the offering a little bit. We have to adapt to what's going on. But again, it was existing pharmacy. Previous owner did a great job, and everything, but it was time to change a lot of things that's within there. So, and again, it nothing's done overnight. That's what I learned. I know when you go into new things, you're all pumped up and you're trying to get things done quickly and all that. But that's when you really have to find someone to talk to that has been doing that before or done it before. So this group of people that asked me to work for them have that open channel all the time because they've been doing it for a long time. They have multiple pharmacies, and I remember they were saying, "Anton, we know you want to change a lot of things, but you need to slow down." And that
Sure.
it was a good advice because really when you go to an existing operation, you just do not want to throw everything out the door. It's not the best way to do it. So and I learned over the years, so that was one big advice for me that I really was happy to have. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because you don't want to fall into doing things a certain way just because that's the way they've always been done. But at the same time, especially walking into a new an existing store, you don't want to shock your patients, your team members, and turns out there may be a reason that some of those things are done that way. So that's probably a fine line that probably also coming from an engineering background, you have a unique kind of thought process that would help you on that. Whereas somebody who is more by the book, who's used to working like in that structured chain environment, may not want to rock the boat so much.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, you describe it correct. And again, I don't think it's just that Briar Grove, but I think many independent pharmacy that way, especially the one that have been established for a long time, is your customers, they're not just the customer. They feel like they own a stake in the pharmacy. Okay. So,
Sure.
well, if I tell you that if when I walked in and let's say a rack of candy, okay, it's just in the way, okay? We want to change it, just turn it around and put it the other way, okay? We have customers have a fit about it. They complain, not because they just want to complain, because, okay, no, I know where to go when I need a certain thing, okay? And I'm expecting to find it at the same location every time I be there. You know what I'm saying? So it is so personal to them. And the Independent pharmacy, that's what is unique about it. And customer expecting that consistency you do have to consider when you do any change, what is that going to be for your customers? So.
Yeah. So funny story. I recently came through Houston. I was going down for a cruise, left out of Galveston. And on the way back, I was so close to my old neighborhood, I had to go back, So I went to my old neighborhood, and at the back of the neighborhood, there's this little grocery, little like convenience store. And I went in and talked to the guy behind the counter, and he had owned that convenience store since I was a kid. So it was the same guy that I had bought so many, 5-cent candies from individually because I found a quarter on the ground, It was the same guy. And it was interesting going back in because all the fixtures were in the same place. And it was so comforting. And it's weird because, that's not necessarily progress, but there is a nostalgia and a comfort level that I felt right at home. And I haven't been in that store in, I don't know, 15, 25 years. It's been forever ago.
Right. And I change is good. And I think we done a lot of change during my years in Briar Grove, but it was wise, I guess, to wait until learn who is your customer. For me, walking into a whole new industry, new operation, so it was important. Okay, I need to learn who are my customers. What the expectation and all that. You learn that from employees' feedback, from customers' feedback, and until you have that full picture, then your customers will appreciate that change little by little. So, but that sudden change sometimes is just not effective in independent firms. So.
Yeah, that's interesting because, change is good, but you also want to, make sure you're preserving that, that feeling of ownership, like you said, and, keeping what's important.
Absolutely. And I remember one of the things, I mean, every day I walked into the store, I was like, God, can we please change that? Is the phone system.
Yeah.
So when I first started, the phone system, I don't know if you remember the Panasonic phone that it all rings on one phone, okay? And we have a phone, how do you call it? Just a lady who all her job is just answer the phone and route it to a pharmacy, to a technician. So it's very, very old system. And I want to, when I did, we want IVR, we want all that in place. And boy, that was one of the hardest changes we made. Because again, they used to, when they call, someone answer, okay, and that comfort them, someone answer, and I want to go ahead and speak to a person, and then even if they don't mind to be on hold, okay, but as long as the first thing they did after the phone ring is a person, they're okay with that.
Sure.
So changing that mindset, and of course we have to tweak. You don't want to be a chain. You don't want to be Walgreens or CVS or wherever, but where people constantly talking to automated messages. So when we first introduced that, first IVR in the pharmacy, and implemented, it takes time. People get used to it. Hey, is my message? There is an option for you. If you want to talk directly to a pharmacist or pharmacy staff, you press 4. You're right there. You don't have to go to the automated, but there is people actually have no problem using the IVR or to refill, and instead of waiting on the phone and all. So we try and approach it that way to cater to different category of people, different preferences. But again, technology change, it was one of the difficult ones. So
yeah, but again, that's so key. Like, what was important to keep was that human connection. What was important to change was the inefficiency that a manual phone system. So being able to find that middle ground, and keep that personal connection available. You're not losing that, but it's just a little bit different process. And I think, that's being mindful and finding that middle ground. So one of the things I really like about Houston, and really any big market, is that, I can go in and get experiences that I can't get in my hometown. So my hometown that I live in now has like 80,000 people. So if there are really niche, areas, let's just say a hobby shop, a remote control shop, you may not have that in your market. That may be something you have to go to a bigger market for. But Houston, you can get anything, and you can eat a different, international cuisine every meal for a month straight and go all over the world. It's such a robust marketplace. So how does a pharmacy find a way to stand out in a market like that when there's pharmacies on, every corner? There's no shortage of pharmacies, but also, so many other businesses. Like, how do you find a niche to fill like Briar Grove has? Because the retail space at Briar Grove is pretty astounding.
correct. I guess that will bring me back to the same point that I said. It's know your customer, know who your customer, who you're catering to. Okay, who's your demographic, and again, when I joined, it was, you said, when you walk into the store, massive inventory, right? You've seen it well, right? Toys, the women apparel, and I said, okay, well, it's really people shopping here like this? And it was really overwhelming to me, but and I was like, okay, well, apparently they do, right? But do we actually know our customers and what's their preferences and all that? So one of the things that I'm really proud of is, after the first year, we did send out a customer survey, just to gain or gauge the pulse of, how the customer perceives Grow Farms. Okay. And it was amazing the response back, They like certain things, they didn't like certain things. A lot of them actually agreed on, like, what, we like this section, we didn't like that section. So you have to know what your customers want. The way it was done is, okay, well, let's go to every single trade show in the country that offer retail, gifts, and all that, and just buy what we like. Okay, well, buying what I like is different from what actually the customer going to buy, right? I mean,
Sure.
If your main focus, for example, ladies on between certain age or men between certain age, you need to cater to that category in order for you to see, turning your inventory and actually movement and all that. So that survey really helped us to shape, okay, this is what we need to focus on. And now we know we want to be strategic to what trade shows. And when I say trade show, I'm talking about like gift shows and, all that across the country. So that we really have what we're looking for. And instead of wasting our time and going to all these trade shows, wasting our resources, let's focus on, okay, this is what we need to focus on. And you'd be surprised, women apparel was great. People said that, do you really sell women apparel in the pharmacy? Yes, we do. It's a big hit. It's big sales until I left, and I think still. And again, you'll find a little niche here and there. The puzzle, for example.
Yeah, that was one thing that really kind of surprised me and impressed me was the sheer amount of inventory. You guys have like this giant display with all of these kind of high quality puzzles. So yeah, where did that come from?
Well, we looked at, okay, our population. We have a quite elderly population around us. We have many assisted living around us, and just most of the time they like to spend doing something, being busy, getting occupied. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that puzzle is a big thing with this generation. I said, okay, well, let's be, don't just get those generic puzzle. We went out of our way. We created a whole section of puzzle, different. We have from 200 pieces to 5,000, 10,000 pieces puzzles, all kind of shape and forms and all that. And, we did some contest between people who will complete a certain, but so it bring a trend. We put it on social media, and it become known for a puzzle store, So yeah, it's simple. Puzzles in general is not expensive, and the turnaround for these puzzles really, really nice from puzzle that cater to kids all the way to elderly people. They still can do it. It's a fun game. So
yeah, I love that because it's definitely something that you can have in your retail space. It's fun, but it's kind of that specialty niche where you're able to offer a little bit higher quality version of what's available on the shelf at Walmart, and you're able to kind of tap into a very specific interest. So it's such a great fit. But who would have just sat in their own office and come up with that?
And that's when I said you need to talk to, because sometimes we are, pharmacy owners or pharmacy operation, they think they know, but unless you actually talk to the customers, send out survey, learn, you learn more about your customer base, what they need, what they're looking for. So
Yeah, I mean, we talk so much about patient interactions in a real clinical space, but especially with the population that is battling loneliness and mobility, just asking things. What do you do for fun? What a great way to get ideas to serve. So with that, is there a way to leverage technology to kind of push you into some of those demographics to explore? Are you looking at age demographics in your software, or running reports on, trying to narrow down a specific demographic and then approach interests from that kind of vantage point, or is it purely just through patient interactions?
no, we definitely need to. Not every. Let's say we're gonna do the survey again. Okay, surveying people who actually come to your pharmacy regularly is probably gonna be different from sending out a survey for people who actually only use your pharmacy during immunization season. You know what I'm saying? So you have to differentiate between these two using your technology, whatever software you're using, to differentiate between, different group of people that you want their opinion on. So and again, that's something also we've done on a later few years after we done another survey, because we want to know, okay, what exactly we choose, we filters our patient on, okay, how they interact, like, their usage of our pharmacy. Maybe, and I think if I remember correctly, we try to narrow it down to people who only get prescription but not OTC, for example. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So why would you not do business with us without OTC? And our OTC is like huge. Is it pricing? Is it not enough variety items? What is it? So we send that out, and you'll be surprised. It's surprised but sad at the same time, because we should know that, because that's what we do in our own life. Majority of feedback came as, okay, well, we really like your service, we like this, but I think we also like the rewards we get when we buy this stuff from another chain or a grocery store and all that, you know? And again, we do that too. We do buy sometimes to get these points and to get this rewards, and, so it was like, was, these aha moment, like, okay, why we couldn't do it? And then we used our software and we created a reward program, and and it was fantastic. And people comes and ask for, okay, how many points I have now, and all that. That increased our OTC quite a bit. So, and again, these kind of surveys is really help gauging the pulse of your customers, and offer different product that really will work. Because these are not generic. These are not generic that every pharmacy using. You're actually listening to your customers and actually implementing on that. So,
yeah. So for anyone not familiar, within PioneerRx, there is like a point of sale loyalty program where you can earn points and then redeem points, and there's all kinds of different controls. So you can have different departments and different redemption values. So if you're not using that is a really neat tool. But I think it's really cool how you were able to kind of focus with a little bit broader scope. I think a lot of pharmacies, when they think about their retail, they make their big opening order, and they have all of these items on the shelf that came from their opening order. And those are great to kind of meet the basic pharmacy expectations of your patients, but then really going a layer deeper and making a personal connection through your products. What a great way to create a sticky connection. So you've kind of moved on a little bit into a new role. I do want to talk about that and how you're able to kind of take what you've learned at Briar Grove and engineering and all the other steps. Inevitably, every one of those steps you never think will come in handy again always seems to fit in as just part of professionally what you bring. So tell me a little bit about your current title.
Oh, to take a little bit back to a few years back before I joined Cencora. Well, that's when I don't even know what to call it, but that's hit you. Okay, you know what? It's time to do something different. It gets into you, it gets in your head, and, we build a successful team, and there's no worries there. Can we move on? Can you do something a little bit bigger than that? And again, that start with looking into different MBA programs, and I joined UT Tyler, and I got my MBA the last 2 years. And I know that I want to do something different, as I said. So I started that journey a little bit earlier, creating, working on my education background, cemented on. And even then, my MBA, I just got it into specialize in healthcare management, just to emphasize that that's what I want to do. I still want to do healthcare. But I also feel like I still have very good connection into independent pharmacy and the pharmacy in general. So, I started a journey preparing myself, academically, getting the management team and the pharmacy in Briar Grove and, acquainted with, not being there anymore and all that, and then this job came, just searching online. I said, you know what, let's try here and there. And it was amazing to me because I never know that I'm familiar with business coaching in general, but you always, when you hear the word business coaching, you'll think, okay, this is probably for CEOs and, big executives and all that. And just to learn that one of the largest wholesalers offering that, which is Cencora, offering that to small independent pharmacy, was really amazing. And the more I read about the role and everything, I said, you know what, I want to do this. I think I will fit there, and I think hopefully I can be a good asset to independent pharmacies, and I can help more independent pharmacy that way. So, and again, I hope this is the case, but, I've been with the company for almost coming to a year in November. And I couldn't ask for better leadership there and a better environment to work, very supportive to independent pharmacy, all the way. So, very excited to be here with Cencora now. So.
Excellent. Yeah. So Cencora, formerly AmerisourceBergen, it's been around for a long time and available all over the country, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
available globally, actually.
Oh, globally. Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Sometimes we just have our blinders on to that. But yeah, I guess, yeah, absolutely. Globally. So as a business coach, and you're a regional business coach there in South Texas, I guess, Houston area. So how are you able to really engage with pharmacies? Like, what does that look like if you're one of your clients?
So first I want to say something really, really important for any pharmacist. If you're an independent pharmacy now, if you're in a pharmacy, a pharmacist, you are one of the smartest people on planet Earth. You made it. You made the hardest part of anything you do, which is getting out of your comfort zone, opening your pharmacy or purchasing a pharmacy. So you're already there. Your business coach is there to help you getting being accountable and to bring awareness on things that you probably, as a pharmacist, we all know you get stuck behind, you know, the bench all the time, working your bench, working your, helping your customers and all that. So, the business coach with Cencora, one of the things that I really like, it's very simple. We focus on three things: simplify, amplify, and protect. That's from day one. We learned these three things, three concepts: simplify, amplify, and protect. To simplify your operation business, your business coach will look into, different avenue, how to look at your workflow, look at your data, how you make your workflow better. And if you asked me, coming from independent pharmacy, that took me years in Briar Grove to fix that, fix the mindset of the employee, getting inventory in place, perpetual inventory. And I don't remember if you remember, I attended a few classes to get that perpetual inventory. It took me 2 years to get it correctly, but we got it. And again, all this goes into the workflow. And again, one of the survey we sent to customers when I was at Briar Grove, okay, how you see the pharmacy when he comes in? And a few of them very honestly said it's chaotic. So unless you have a dynamic workflow that works seamlessly, it's anyone outside the pharmacy when it comes in, they will think that there is something wrong there. It's chaotic.
Sure.
The way people talking to each other, the people trying, especially if it's a busy pharmacy. So that's why we talk about simplifying the operation, getting your team on board, adherence, MedSync. I remember also MedSync before even become a trend. I think we started that prior back in 2014. When we was doing it manual and all that until,
sure,
software comes in place and, hey, we have steps. And actually that's even been evolved more and more now, more advanced feature on how to run very successful MedSync. So that's where your business coach focus on with the pharmacy owner. Okay, well, let's have some actionable items. How are we going to do it? And get that train of thoughts together. You're busy, pharmacist busy, get behind the counter, phone calls after phone calls. So that's one. Amplifying, Cencora, I think focus pretty much on how to get the message out, how to be a beacon in your community, how your XYZ pharmacy brand resonate with customers. And that the first thing comes to their mind when they want to shop for pharmacy or pharmacy product. So lots of tools, lots of great resources, very powerful resources Cencora offer in that program. And the last thing I would say is protect. And I think it is becoming more and more hot topic, encouraging customers to get out of the comfort zone, encouraging pharmacists to get out of comfort zone, to advocate for their business, for their profession. No one will do a better job than the actual pharmacists, talking about what they do on every single day, how they helping patient. The pandemic, I don't think we are in, or I believe we are in a better shape after the pandemic. So many reasons, but one of the reasons is pharmacists, the most accessible healthcare provider during the pandemic. you guys did a lot. The pharmacists did a lot. Independent pharmacy especially did a lot. So you need to let people know. You need to let the people within government know that what you're doing every day. So to protect your profitability, to protect your existence. So yeah, so this is the three main core thing that as a business coach that we help with: simplify, amplify, and protect.
Nice. Yeah. So a lot of those can definitely benefit from having somebody that's going to check in and hold you accountable because, inventory, for example, it's called perpetual inventory because it never ends. You have to stay perpetually dedicated to staying on top of it because, perpetual inventory isn't calling everybody in on Saturday, counting the pills and eating pizza. It's fundamentally changing the way you have accountability and standard operating procedure to stay on task. Same thing with MedSync and having a beacon, having somebody to check in with. There's peer groups and there's a number of assets out there, but I think a lot of pharmacies probably aren't taking advantage of their relationship with their wholesaler to kind of really learn from some of that knowledge base available. I think about there's a chain pharmacy in my town, and when you go in, the organization is incredible. They have so much science and research behind product placement and traffic paths and all of those different things. But again, as you've heard in the news over and over and over, complete chaos in the pharmacy section, behind the counter, but in front of the counter, great organization that, you can definitely learn from a company who has that collective experience that's so rich.
I agree with you. The leverage your relationship with your wholesaler. It's extremely important. And again, I'm talking about any wholesaler. Now, I can definitely talk a little bit more about what Good Neighbor Pharmacy does because one of the things that I really like about it is have that complete different department that working behind the scene. All what we do is working on enhancing the pharmacy business. We always like to joke with our sales team is just like, we work in different islands because, sales is sales, they always beat the sales, but, and we love them. They do a fantastic job. It's just business coaching group and Cencora or Good Neighbor Pharmacy that's what all we do is just focus on your bottom line moving forward. And again, getting that accountability partner that will say, "Oh, I was so busy last week and I could not get my staff meeting done." Guess what? I'm gonna call you then the week after, and make sure you get this done. Make sure this, again, pharmacist owners are this very smart, very entrepreneurship skills. But when you get stuck behind the counter, sometimes it's just your hand is tied. And again, unless you have someone remind you over and over that this is need to be done and what direction we need to do to go. And again, that's what I feel like big differentiation in what Cencora and Good Neighbor Pharmacy do to their customers.
Yeah. So, it's funny. I get to go to a lot of trade shows. And one of the things that I see is people looking for a new solution and a problem in their pharmacy, something they can get excited about and say they bought that's going to, be the magic pill that's going to fix things. When, you probably have a lot of tools. One great example, oftentimes if somebody comes by the booth and they say, "Hey, I'm really having a problem with implementing XYZ." And one of the first questions I ask is, who's your account manager? Because we have really great support here at Pioneer. And if you take advantage of that, if you build that relationship with your account manager, it's really going to help. And if they say, oh, I don't know, that instantly gives me some insight into what tools they haven't even tapped into yet. So I think your average pharmacy is probably way less tapped into taking advantage of resources from their supplier, outside of, making their order or calling their rep for something. What would you say to a pharmacy who's not engaging their supplier in a business sense?
You have to, because basically you're gonna you said it correctly. You go to one of these trade show, you see all this new technology, you get excited. This is gonna solve everything, but probably 6 to 7 out of 10, you probably have a similar solution already, but you're not utilizing it. Right. So it's always my advice when person, okay, I saw this and this and that. I said, this is great. I probably used it before, but you think you can not use it or substitute for something you already have? Did you ask your software account manager? Did you ask your supplier? In that case, your wholesaler. So it might be a service or technology that you already have, but you're just not utilizing it.
Yeah.
So and again, I think perpetual inventory is a great example of that. If you go out there, you're probably gonna have 5 different technology company that they like to sell their inventory, and they're great. Don't get me wrong; they're probably great. It's probably going to fit one pharmacy versus another. But again, 9 out of 10, your software have that capability already.
Yeah.
And you're not using it. So,
yeah. So, are some of the business coaching tools available from like most suppliers? Is that something they offer? Is that something unique to Cencora, and is that something only in certain markets?
No, with Cencora, any good neighbor pharmacy have access to a business coach nationwide. I cannot speak for other wholesalers. I haven't seen it in my years in pharmacy. I haven't seen it. I know, they have maybe sales consultant and all that, but not a specific business coach. And again, it's very important to mention that our business coach department within Cencora, we work in a very, very high confidential environment. So data gathered, anything that we have access to as far as, terminology, it's just to stay within that business coach department, for confidentiality and all that. So, and again, it's a word that I hear over and over from the leadership at Cencora: do what's right for the customers, and I like that. I'm coming. Sometimes I feel like I still work for independent pharmacy, So it was like my boss when she started this, like, okay, I get your passion, okay.
Sure.
Sometimes in corporate life, we limit it sometimes on what we can do, what we can't, and all that. But again, great leadership on the Good Neighbor Pharmacy side. They always in constant rush to enhance the service, to enhance the solutions and all that. So, and I do believe, I could be wrong, but I do believe it is the only wholesalers that offer a business coach. Another thing, quickly here, Will, is, and I probably said before, and when executive coaching or business coaching comes in a subject or in a conversation, I always think about, okay, this something has to do with CEOs and executives and all that. And for Cencora to bring that down to individual pharmacy, making sure they have access to that, to me, it was incredible. A great team between different backgrounds, from CBAs, accounting, pharmacists, previous pharmacy owners. So, if you always said if you have one question that you can't answer, someone in the team have a very good idea how to answer that. So,
Sure. Well, we're just about out of time. I did want to see kind of what you thought is exciting about the future of pharmacy. What do you see coming down the pipeline or out on the horizon that is exciting to you from a wholesaler standpoint or just pharmacy in general?
oh, well, let's talk pharmacy in general because I think it's I feel the pain that some independent pharmacy going through after all that GRFE, but change and all that, and we had a little bit of a hectic year.
It's been a rough year. Yeah.
Very rough, but it's not all doom and gloom. I think there is light. I'm very optimistic. Lots of things happening on the federal legislation side. And that's when I said, please get involved. I just can't say it enough. Please get involved. And I was in a buying group meeting, and there is a saying that been circling around in that buying group. They kept saying, "You are not on the table. You are in the menu."
Yeah.
So so please get involved. Be on the table. Have your voice heard. Now we've seen a lot of movement. You have pharmacists now and multiple pharmacists now in Congress. Start with your local representative. You don't have to go to just the state level. There is so much can be done on a state level. So that's what I would say. I'm very optimistic. I'm really hoping to all the efforts for the pharmacists to really get paid. And again, we get this talk about reimbursement, okay? But just think about it just for a second here. We're talking about reimbursement for a product, right? To fill it in a vial, which is supposedly we get reimbursement fair, right? And the pharmacy should get
supposedly, yeah.
Supposedly, right? But what we're not talking about is we're probably the only healthcare provider. Pharmacists are probably the only healthcare provider that they do not have a status on a federal level as a healthcare provider, and they cannot actually bill for their time. Right? I mean, just think about it. You spend all that time with the patient, with the customer, and you cannot get reimbursement for that. So I'm hoping this is the right. I think the message should focus. Yes, we do need to put the pressure more and more on reimbursement for drugs and all that, but I think it's important that we need to recognize pharmacists as the actual healthcare provider. They do need to get reimbursed as their time. So that's what I'm hoping. Again, technology changing everything. There's lots of AI going on. I'm not going to claim that I'm an expert on that. This is just wait to be seen how this is going to evolve. You guys probably have something in the pipeline. I don't know.
Oh, always. I mean, we're definitely looking at ways that can be implemented, but it's still pretty early. I do think there is a trend overall that from DIR fees and all of the conversations that have been had on a national level, there's so much awareness and there's been some great wins, in different areas. If you look at like Iowa and Idaho with their standard of practice, if you look at various states that are really kind of able to bend the ear of the people making decisions and explain why this coupon program you're using for your state plan is, bad for your patients. I'll have to send you a blog article that we recently wrote up. A big win in North Carolina recently for independent pharmacies that were really reaching out at a state level and affected change. And it's great to see. And I feel like that is a positive trend that we're seeing, whereas the last few years have seemed where there's a lot of doom and gloom. I feel like the sun's poking out in a lot of areas. So.
I feel the same. And the last spot that we were in July, I mean, lots of great things happening. Tennessee, I didn't even know that Tennessee have that much advanced pharmacy services that approved on the state side. I mean, it's great what the guys in Tennessee is doing. So yeah, I mean, when a state like this, it gives you hope that can expand and hopefully to the federal level, hopefully to other states. I'm hoping for my state of Texas that we get a little bit the ball moving a little bit, because I think we're a little bit behind here. But let's get all the Texan pharmacists get involved and get their voice heard. And yeah, I mean, I'm very optimistic. Pharmacy business is still thriving.
Awesome. I'll let you get back to it. Thanks so much for joining me. I can't wait to catch you on the road again and hear what you've been up to.
Thank you, Will. It's been an honor, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond the Scripts, presented by the Catalyst Pharmacy Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please support our channel by liking, subscribing, and clicking the notification bell so that you'll be notified anytime we post new content. To stay up to date with all of the latest independent pharmacy news and content, follow PioneerRx on your preferred social media platform.